Morning, Mechanics. Today I'm working on a Troy-Bilt pony, and this is a problem that I've been having for quite a while with several different machines. The customer said that the machine stopped moving, and most of the time you just go look at the drive belt, right? Well, this one is not. This one doesn't throw the drive belt a lot. So our drive belt over here, focus, looks pretty decent. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you'll notice over here, the idler here is digging into this arm, which is what operates the blade going on and off, and the lever that raises and lowers the deck. Okay, so it's actually dug into it and it's eating it up because the transmission belt failed. And the transmission belt here is in fairly rough shape. And that's because it got wound around this pulley. I'm already taking it out for you. This is the variable speed pulley. That's pretty common between most MTD products. And I've replaced several of these in the past few weeks. And so I just wanted to make you aware of what's going on. The part number for this one is a 65601. 656. Let me make sure. 01015. That's right. It's been superseded to something else now with a P in it, but you can still look at it by that number. This variable speed pulley is not necessarily a problem. The pulley still operates as correct, but the bearing cup on the bottom does not. So I took these two bearings out this morning. They are a little worn. The first one I took out, the customer was complaining that this bolt was coming out. Well, this bolt's what holds it on. Holds it into the bearing cup. And when I took it off, I was like, wow, that looks pretty bad. The shaft was very worn. The wall right here was very thin. And so I went ahead and tried to put it back in. We had a new bolt that had Loctite on it to put it back in. And then a few hours later after mowing, it was out again. So then I took a look, took it all the way apart and looked at it and saw that this is definitely supposed to be much thicker than that, and went ahead and replaced the whole thing. These pulleys right now are going for somewhere around $95 to $120 on average. I've seen some of them go for $175, depending on where you are. But the real issue is here in the bearings, and the bearings wear out, and with this cup pushed onto the bottom and this pulley sitting in the bearings like so, you've got the drive belt pulling this way, you've got the transmission belt pulling this way, and so it's constantly at a wobble, and that slight wobble will wear the bearings out very quickly. So the bolts that held this bearing cup on are 10 millimeter bolts, and the one that held on the center bolt for the shaft here is a 1/2 inch head. So all you have to do is clean this up really good and put the bearings back in gently and evenly. They just slide down in there, and it is spring loaded on the actual mower. There's a bracket right here, and you can see the spring right there. Get the transmission belt out of the way. Those 3 holes right there are where the bearing cup bolts on from the bottom, and then the transmission pulley, or the variable speed pulley, just plops down inside of it, and you put the bolt in from the bottom. So you got to hook the drive belt up first. This has got the blade guards here, or belt guards rather, on both sides, and then the transmission belt. But again, we're going to have to replace the transmission belt and this pulley just because of the grinding, and also this lever. That's for deck height, because if where it's ground in, it almost cut it in two actually. So this one has bad bearings in it as well, which I could show you if I could get both hands in there. So we're going to replace all of that at once so we don't have to do it again. The fun part is going to be, once again, getting this part of the belt off because it's stuck underneath the lift mechanism and is one of those that you've got to get out through the side because it's pushed up against the side of the mower that uses the frame as the belt guard on that one. So to get that off, sometimes you can use brute force. The way this frame is made, I don't think that's going to happen. There's no clearance, so I'm probably gonna have to figure out a way to get that bolt loose. Probably put a big wrench on it and break it loose just enough to where the pulley will wobble, and then I can get the belt off. All right. So just want to make you aware. That's a pretty common issue. I've done 5 of these in the past 5 weeks, and that's enough to send off alarm bells. This one is a 2013, and I actually had a 2021 model do it as well, and this is 2022. So this is a problem for all of these variable speed pulleys, is that usually either the deck belt will, the drive belt and the transmission belt will cross over or jump off, or they will malfunction on here in some way, shape, or form, and it's usually because these bearings are bad. All right. Have a great day, mechanic chicks. Let's get fixing.